What is up, Chef Nate fam? Your boy is back again with another one. This week I've got a sweet tooth, so I'm gonna be showing you how to make my ultimate cheesecake. Let go. Right guys, let's get started. So what I've done first is I went to the shop and I bought basically a ready mix, brownie mix. Just knock that up and using the same pan that I'm gonna do the cheesecake in, because this is gonna go in between the layers. So rather than make a fresh brownie, it's kind of a long thing. So I just went to the shop, bought a brownie mix, 2 eggs, a little bit of butter, knocked it up, easy peasy. To do that, that'll help you out, make it a little bit quicker, because that needs to be done a couple of hours before you actually make the cheesecake, so make sure it's nice and cool. Everything else is gonna be made from scratch, gonna be made fresh, so don't worry about that. Let's have a quick ingredients rundown. So I've got for my base, we're gonna use Oreos instead of digestives. Forget about the dead digestives. I've got some butter to go with that, just 200 grams of melted butter. And for our mix, it's super simple. I've got cream, Philadelphia cheese, I've got some hazelnut spread, just like Nutella. I've got some caster sugar and some vanilla essence. So that's everything that we need. It's like a super simple recipe, super different, super fun. Let's knock it out. Cool, so I've got my Oreos, so I've got my blender here. So I'm gonna dump these straight in. I'm only gonna use 1.5 packs because I wanna keep the rest for the end to sprinkle on top. So don't use all your Oreos, keep some back. And let's get those blended. Cool, so that's all blended up now. I'm gonna start adding my butter. I'm probably gonna use half of it first because I don't wanna make it too wet. So pour in half your butter, blend it up again, and then see if it comes together nicely. Wicked, that is now all blended. I've added the right amount of butter. Just want to keep adding your butter slowly until you can sort of see it still holds its shape and it forms like this, so that we can pack it nicely in the bottom of our tin. Obviously, depending on the size of the cheesecake that you're making and the size of your tin, will vary on how many ingredients you need. Here I've got 600 mils of cream, 300 mils of cheese. I'm not really sure if I'm gonna need all of that. And those 2 packs of Oreos weren't quite enough, so I just had to run out and get some more, just to make sure I've got a nice thick base. But again, just play with your ingredients, and it obviously depends on what size tin you use. So I'm going to scoop all this straight in there, like so. Then using the back of my spoon, I'm just gonna move it around. And all I've done just to make life easier is, as you can see, I've lined my tin here with greaseproof paper. That's just gonna allow me to get the cheesecake out a lot easier. But yeah, let's just move this around and make sure it's nice, even, nice and flat. Get all the way to the edges so that we have a nice, strong, sturdy base. As soon as I've done this, we'll pop it in the fridge, and it's that butter that's gonna go back to being a solid again. That is then gonna harden up and allow the cheesecake base to be nice and stiff and support your cheesecake when you cut a nice slice. Cool guys, my base is now chilling. I'm going to start on the mix now. So first we'll start off by whipping our cream. That's the first thing we need to do. So I'm just gonna go for all this cream, make a big batch. If I have any left over, that's too much for my tin. You can always just make little minis and little glasses and ramekins and put those aside as well. But that's what I'm gonna do. So first we're gonna start by adding a couple of tablespoons, maybe 2 tablespoons of sugar to this 600 mils of cream, because I'm gonna add a little bit, not too much of this hazelnut spread, but some of the hazelnut spread into the mix as well. So I don't want it to be too sweet. Obviously there's lots of sweet elements to it, so they all need to balance out nicely. So let's start whisking this. Hopefully it doesn't go everywhere. Let's see how we get on. I'm just gonna whisk this until it's fully whipped. All right guys, we're almost halfway there, so I'm gonna start adding my vanilla extract. Try and use extract and essence, because it's just a lot better flavor. This stuff is really strong, so don't add too much, maybe just a teaspoon or 2 for that amount. And then let's get back to whisking. Cool, so I'm 3/4 of the way through now. I just want to add some of this chocolate. Maybe just don't put it in one big blob though. I'm just gonna add a few, there we go, little dollops here and there, just to add a nice nutty flavor throughout our mix. That's all I'm gonna add, about 2.5 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons, something like that. Carry on whisking. Cool guys, so as you can see, my cream is nice and stiff. I've got my chocolate in there, my sugar, and my vanilla. I'm gonna use about 200 grams of this 300 gram pot of cheese at first to go in there. Again, maybe just break it up a little bit so it's not in one big clump just to give your whisk a bit of an easier time. A little bit more. Okay, that's great. And then one final whisk to combine all that. Awesome guys, so now my base is here, it's nice and set, firm. I've got everything ready, so this is the fun part. We get to build our cheesecake. But don't forget guys, you can use any sort of flavors that you want. Just remember the basics, that you have to have your butter with your biscuit base. Make sure that you can mold it into shape so that it sets just like this. And then have fun with your cream and your cheese. Just remember to double the amount of cream that you have to cheese. You can put anything in there. Mix some strawberries in there, put some different fruits in there, put some toffee in there, anything that you want. Have fun with it, guys. But this is just something that I want to show you, so let's start building. All right, so first I'm going to start scooping on my first layer. So there's no real trick to this. I'm just going to start scooping and spreading. Again, I'm going to start with a little bit. I can always add more. I've got this little tool that I stole from my missus. It's just one of her cake slices, but it's nice and flat. So I'm just gonna use this. You can try and just find anything. You can use a bit of thick card and sort of cut it and use it as one of those little pastry spreaders that you see the professionals using, but we're not trying to be pros out here. Just try and get it spread as evenly as possible, that's the main thing. And then you can always keep adding to get nice, even base, even layers. And it hasn't got to be pretty, obviously, because you're going to keep building the top, probably the main part, but even then I'm going to sprinkle stuff on the top. So no layer has to be too perfect. The main thing is just that it's nice and even, so the cake stands nice and even at the end. So guys, a technique that I like to use is to spin your tin rather than trying to work around and feel awkward. It's just if you sort of keep this hand still and then just spin your tin and let the tin do the work, makes it a lot easier to get a nice even layer. There we go. That is our first layer done. Now time for my favorite layer. Remember that little cheeky brownie mix that we used? Let's try and pop that in, and obviously because I baked it in this tin, it should just fit nice and perfect in there. It has shrunk a little bit overnight, but that's fine. So that's our next layer. And all we're gonna do is do the same thing on top with our mix, straight on top of our brownie, just like that. And get this spread nice and even. Get down below that brownie. Fill in that crack down there. Here we have it guys, nice even layers. It's all done. I spread it as evenly as possible. It doesn't have to be super smooth because we're going to top it with stuff now. I said earlier that I was going to top it with Oreos, but I used those for the base. So I'm going to use chocolate chips. Improvisation, that's what makes cooking fun. Just use what you've got. Again, remember any other cheesecake that you're using, you can put anything on there. It's totally up to you. Have fun with it, be spontaneous. I think these chocolate chips are actually probably gonna look a lot better than the Oreos would anyway. And sorry, I'm just gonna go mad and use all of them. Make it super chocolatey, super decadent, and the ultimate cheesecake. There we have it. I'm gonna get this into the fridge now, and when it's set, I'm gonna cut you guys a massive slice and tell you how good it is. Here we have it, guys and girls. It is done. It's looking wicked. I've cut a nice slice. Check this out. Got all the chocolate chips on top. You can see all the different layers, from the cream cheese filling to the brownie, all the way down to the Oreo base. It's gonna be amazing. Let's try this out. It's shred season for most of us, so I'm not gonna smash this whole piece, but for you, my lovely listeners, I'm definitely gonna try some. Let's go. That is the best cheesecake I've ever had in my life. Make sure you try this, guys. You will love it. Thanks again for watching this week, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you try this ultimate cheesecake recipe out for yourself. You won't regret it. Chef Nate is out for another week. Peace.